NBC 12 celebrates Black history.
Long time coming.
Richmond's Confederate monuments, when several contractors were afraid to touch it. And now the historic avenue only has one monument left, and that, of course, would be Arthur Ashe.
And in his first television interview, Henry speaks candidly with our Anthony Antoine, giving us the behind-the-scenes look at what happened.
You were deliberate about not trying to be on camera, weren't you?
Oh, I've been extremely deliberate about not doing interviews.
Sitting in the middle of the historic Monument Avenue, a stretch that once celebrated the Confederacy, Devon Henry addresses the controversy, threats against his life, and the prophecy he would fulfill for the very first time.
The call came in on June 3rd of 2020, and it was actually from the governor's side. And they said, hey, we want to take down this, Lee. We can't find anyone to do it. Can you do it?
That call was made a day before Governor Ralph Northam made this announcement.
We must take action. So I am directing the Department of General Services to remove the statue of Robert E. Lee as soon as possible.
Removing the Robert E. Lee statue came with opposing views. As Henry attempted to assemble a team, he would learn that truth firsthand.
Everyone said, hell no, Devon, I'm not touching that. No way are we supporting you. No way are we helping you. And these were people that we worked with for years.
It was a sign of what's to come, and an unexpected pause on one project would ultimately lead to several others.
And the next thing you know, we get a call, there's an injunction, so we had to stop everything.
Lee would be caught up in a legal battle that lasted more than a year, but that was not the case for the rest of the Confederate statues found all across the River City.
Today, I order the immediate removal of Confederate monuments from their pedestals.
And with that, the city was moving forward with its own removal strategy, but needed a contractor to get it done.
And so they were doing the same exercise, making all these calls, and everybody was telling them no.
Demonstrators on the streets would not wait for symbols of the past to be taken down safely. June 6th, 2020, 2 days after the governor's announcement, the William Carter Wickham statue in Monroe Park was torn down. June 9th, the Christopher Columbus statue was ripped from its foundation, spray painted, set on fire, and dumped in Bird Park's Fountain Lake. The very next day, June 10th, the bronze Jefferson Davis statue on Monument Avenue came crashing down onto the cobblestone, almost 113 years to the day after it was erected on June 3rd, 1907.
They are sawing Jeb Stuart's leg off.
With the city still scrambling to find a contractor before several thousand pounds of bronze fell onto a crowd instead of concrete, a call was made.
And then I guess they reached out to the state and say, hey, I think you guys got somebody, who are you using? And they gave them our name. And so that's kind of the backstory that a lot of people don't know.
Henry's company getting the contract was quickly scrutinized and came with controversy. Some believed he got it solely because he donated money to Mayor LeVar Stoney's campaign in the past. It led to an independent investigation by the Augusta County Commonwealth's attorney, which eventually resulted in the mayor being cleared of any wrongdoing. The investigation also showed the administration reached out to several contractors, but they, quote, declined because they personally felt it was the wrong call, or they did not want their company associated with the risk of the removal, end quote.
Because everybody thinks that I just got this call and it was, here, take this contract, and it was absolutely not the case. So I'm glad that they went through the process of folks telling them no, folks not having the willingness to get involved, and then coming to us and we saying, yeah, we'll do it.
Did you ever consider not taking this job?
Yeah. The first and foremost, it was the safety component, not just for me, but my team. They have a family, as well as my family, right? You think about in New Orleans where, the contractor had his car blown up, right? You think about what happened in Charlottesville. There's a lot of emotion around these statues on both sides.
Any of those fears realized?
Some things I don't talk about, but there were a ton of threats, right? FBI involved, going to people's house. My daughter was going outside and a car was at the end of the driveway, and she just refused to go outside. Like, she didn't want to go outside anymore. They definitely tried to rattle us. They definitely tried to use bully tactics and all this other craziness to prevent this from happening.
And for a businessman who invested his life savings 15 years ago to become an entrepreneur, the financial implications were front and center.
I sacrificed my core work, my core business. Folks told me they were never going to work with us again. Folks said, Devon, if you do this, this is not going to be favorable for you.
The names of the contractors who worked with him will not be named in this story, but Henry says his decision to move forward was deeply rooted in the understanding that this responsibility was bigger than him.
July 1, 2020 was a day. It was this one. It was Stonewall Jackson.
And coming up at 6 p.m., we take a closer look at Henry's upbringing and why he says that it prepared him for that very moment. He then takes us through the removal of the monuments and reveals a detail that you've never heard before.
Accurate.